And on to Labor's future Made in Australia policy. We know that there is very much centred around fast-tracking the transition and removing some of those national security issues which sit around foreign manufacturing. To what extent do you think that policy can actually work, and will that production and manufacturing be able to occur without government subsidy?
Look, probably the thing to say is that every bit helps. And more broadly, that initiative is actually quite small in the scheme of things. So at the margin, I think it helps. I don't think domestically production is necessarily going to succeed without subsidies, and I think that's the government's intent. The thing to say is that Australia has always been a trading nation. We've relied on imports and exports. That's who we are, just by the nature of our geography. And so we are always going to rely on some form of assistance.
Sure.
I don't think you can do it all at home. The notion, however, and this is where renewables get you, the notion that you might take more control of your energy supplies rather than, say, having to import oil is a good long-term notion.
Yeah.
And so, look, it's a small piece. I don't think it's going to be either a huge blocker or a huge, enabler, other than to say it is support in the right direction.
Yeah, rightio. Yeah. Now, lastly, onto nuclear, and the CSIRO has gone back to the drawing board this week. They were asked to redo their homework
poor CSIRO.
by the coalition. Look, I think most people wouldn't disagree that the moratorium could come off, and can we at least talk about it? Like whether you actually go ahead and have nuclear power, I think is step two. But I think most people would say, well, we should at least be able to talk about it. Yeah. Is there a world where nuclear, either in the large-scale form or the small-scale form, can work in Australia?
In Australia, I don't see it financially stacking up, given the advantages we have around renewable energy and gas. I just don't think, and we've not got a big market. It definitely will play a part in industries and countries where they're pre-existing, absolutely. So I'm not against it. I think the challenge is a little bit that it's a distraction in Australia. It will take at least 20 years from the start to get something up. So, look, I don't disagree with the premise, I guess. What's the harm in at least planning for maybe plan C? If you need it in 2050, well, let's at least start now having those conversations. I think, we only have to look at the waste dump issue in Australia. We've been unable to resolve that for 30, 40 years. Yep. So these are long duration things.
But we are going to have to sort it out for AUKUS. So that conversation
so that conversation needs to start. And look, so I 100%. Why not have a genuine conversation? I guess the trick is not to pretend like it's in the next 20 years in terms of energy, or as the panacea. But look, it may in the future be a long-term need, but let's not get distracted right now. But you can chew gum and walk at the same time, right? Like, so there you go.
Excellent insights. Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you.